meeting. I think the first thing we need to do is hang on just a minute. We're opening a meeting of the Board of Appeals as advertised. Now, this will be conducted with Zoom. It's also going to be recorded. We've got our able assistant from Town Hall with us, who is going to be sure that we get this recorded. Now, we should all do a roll call. And Laverne, why don't you start it off? Our name.
Laverne Lovell, member, Board of Appeals.
Nancy Green, associate member.
Mike Donovan, associate member.
Nadir Ahmed, member.
And George Chimento, member. Okay. Now we actually have time to just chat unofficially, just on miscellaneous things until 7:10 when we open our first hearing. And there are a few miscellaneous matters. First, are there any citizens in attendance?
Hi, George. So there are actually 13 attendees right now, and I just didn't know if you wanted everybody to be on the Zoom or if you wanted to wait until you opened the item for discussion.
Oh, well, I'd like everyone to be able to see us but at this point, if anyone would like to speak, if they could raise their digital hand, and then you can open the mic for them, okay?
Okay, great.
And when you do speak, everyone, please identify yourself by name and address. Ann Reitmeyer, go ahead. Your mic looks like it's crossed off.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ann, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name's Ann Reitmeyer, and I live at 109 Farm Street, going up towards the high school, and I am the chairperson of the Dover Historical Commission. As I think you may know from materials that have been submitted to you in connection with the petition for a special permit on the part of the owners of 15 through 19 Strawberry Hill.
Yes.
We did determine at a historical commission meeting that occurred on February 11th of 2026 that the main house and the old schoolhouse, which was originally a schoolhouse that children in Dover went to along with another one and was moved by a prior owner up to this house, that we did find that the house and the school were historically significant. We're very interested. We did a lot of research. There's a lot of history going back actually to the 1700s for these houses. And so I just wanted to introduce myself. I think there are going to be other members of the commission who are in attendance as well.
Well,
thank you very much.
Looking at the application from Attorney O'Brien, he's very specific. He is.
Yes.
They are not touching those two buildings. The ones. Okay.
And I did read it. I looked at a lot of
good. Because I know you have a lot of other things on your.
Well,
why don't we?
We haven't opened the hearing yet.
We should wait for the hearing to open. Thanks, Nancy. So Ann, we'll take that comment. But is there anyone who'd like to speak about something else? Maybe, I don't know. What do you think of the Red Sox? I mean, what are the things we have until then at 7:10? We will open the hearing on the Strawberry Hill proposal. Is there anyone else from the public who has general comments or questions other than something for these hearings?
Okay. George, I'm going to excuse myself for a couple of minutes, so I'll be right back.
Okay, Mike. Nancy, we're looking forward to what you present on the fee structures in other towns. My goodness, we are really the bargain basement town for fee
Please.
structures.
Yeah.
George,
So,
while we have a few minutes, should we okay the minutes from the meeting from before, or do we have to
You
wait
know
to do
what?
that?
I think, well, Mike just stepped out.
Okay. Oh, so he only
so
Yeah.
had
we did
to.
have somebody raise their hand actually when you asked if there were
Oh,
any
Sierra Bright.
comments.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Sierra.
I was just going to comment before the hearing starts that I'm very disappointed with the Red Sox so far.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be
Wow.
alone, Sierra.
I know it. Goodness. We, well, it's, I mean, yeah. I mean, in fact, some of the comments are pretty uncharitable. I won't say who has been called spaghetti arm who plays in the outfield, but goodness. We have time. We have time. And, uh, and the Dodgers, my goodness, who's going to beat them? Did you see what they did to Toronto? And I mean, they beat them like about by 20 runs or something. It's just,
Oh dear.
yeah. And I mean, that takes all the fun out of it. Uh, and let's just see here. So we have really just 2 minutes, and then we can open up the hearing. And
George,
Michael,
George, do you have a derby pick yet?
yes, Chief Wallaby.
Okay.
Huh?
Good,
Oh,
good. He won his first race in January. The trainer, Bill Mott, who trained the winner of the Derby last year, is his trainer. He's known for being patient. He put Chief Wallaby into the Fountain of Youth for his second start. He almost won. He just got bumped around, had a bad trip. And the horse who beat him by less than a length was named Commandment. He's one of the very favorites. And then in the Florida Derby, same thing, just within less than a length. And I just think he is all set to go. And goodness, I hope the selectmen don't impeach me for giving gambling tips during a board please impeach.
I don't think there's any gamblers here.
But no, I think he's just the perfect horse, Chief Wallaby, and he'll be a pretty good price. Uh,
Hmm?
so let's see here, almost ready. And what I will do then, let me get set to just uh, yeah, because we want Mike to be everyone's got to be in attendance. Well, I'll read the advertisement. Uh, okay, we are opening a hearing on the application of Zeal Dover LLC. The address is 200 Clarendon Street, Boston, Mass. Requests the board to issue a special permit under our Dover bylaw, section 185-52, to relocate and reconstruct pre-existing and non-conforming structures on the land that is at 151719 Strawberry Hill Street, parcel 7-26-0. The applicant represents the permit that is being sought will be similar to, but not identical with, a special permit this board issued in 2021, but special permits expire after 2 years. So this is really basing us to revisit that application for a different owner, I believe. And Attorney Vincent O'Brien will be presenting this. So I think we can get started now.
George, I just would like to let everyone know that I'm the executive secretary of the Dover Land Conservation Trust. I'm a
Yes.
contractor. I don't have a voting seat, but they are in a butter to the actual property. But I just wanted to
That's
close that.
that's good. Thank you for that. Um, okay, now is Attorney O'Brien here? Or to present? Let me just check cell phones and
He's
text messages.
there. He's
Oh,
there,
good.
George.
Okay, fine. Vinny, I don't have, we don't have his picture yet, do we? Could we invite Vinny O'Brien to the panel, please?
Vinny is on the panel. He just hasn't shared his screen yet.
Oh, okay, great. Because we'll wait for Vinny to do that. Vinny's usually pretty good about this. Hmm. Well, I don't understand this. So he's been invited onto the panel, this webinar apparatus we have. He's been invited on, but we don't hear Vinny and we don't see Vinny.
That's right. He's on the panel right now, but I'm thinking he might be having some technical difficulties because he's tried unmuting himself a few times and it wasn't working. So it looks
Oh,
like he just joined again from a different
okay,
device.
sure.
How's that?
Okay, we don't see you. There
There
we
Oh,
I
there
am.
you are.
are.
Yeah,
Okay.
my high-tech, very expensive laptop computer uh, apparently doesn't work as good as my inexpensive old iPhone. So,
Yeah.
Isn't that always the way?
yeah, Laverne,
Uh,
you and I think have one of these every time we have one of these meetings.
Oh, God, it's a nightmare.
I'm pushing buttons and, nothing's happening.
gosh. Hey, now, Vinny, before you start, the application you submitted really was uh, extraordinary. We've got the plans, they're in detail, both what's proposed now, what was approved a few years ago, to see that there's not a great deal of change. Um, for showing the maps, are you going to show the maps and share the screen with or should I do that for you?
You're going to have to because apparently my laptop is not cooperating at all. So you would
Okay.
that. So
Well,
I
why don't you give us a brief summary, and then
yeah,
when you're ready to go into maps, I've got them available and I can share screen for that.
good. I think, and I'm not sure what neighbors might also be participating, but
Yes.
uh, going back a bit, the Blakes had bought the property many, many years ago, and the family was raised there. Mrs. Blake had provided land, had to put a conservation restriction on the land many, many years ago on a portion of it. And as Nancy mentioned, prior to the Blakes selling off the house, they had a conveyance of a substantial portion of the property to the Dover Land Conservation Trust. As with many things in town, I represented the Blakes and then I represented the trust. And
Yeah.
the trust has put a big chunk, I think it's like 44 acres of the original property into a conservation restriction. And the Blakes retained 10 acres. They, obviously being, long residents of town, were very focused on who they were going to sell to. And after an extended, communication, they sold to a great guy, Alexander Leventhal, who came up with the original plan that the board has copies of. And of course, some of the board members that are here were there during that time. And as you may recall, it was COVID, so it was a very interesting time to be doing anything. fortuitously, while Alex was getting ready to build, he happened to be renting another property in another town, and it was just so convenient and so easy. He just kind of let this stay on the back burner. By the Permit Extension Act, the permit was extended through last December. But as of last December, it expired. Subsequent to Alex selling to the current owners, they approached me and asked if I'd help them revive the prior plan and to present it before the zoning board as I am here. And I know Mike was on the board, and the day I'm not sure if you were. I know Laverne was. But the board spent a lot of time looking at the proposal, working with other boards in town, and we came up with a design that I think everyone was very, very happy with. The board had confirmed the prior use of the property, the number of bedrooms, and we incorporated those bedrooms into the design. And the prior design anticipated that there'd be a certain number of bedrooms in the main house ultimately, and that there'd be some bedrooms in the stables for the people taking care of the horses, and there'd be a stable manager's home on the site, which would have been in one of the cottages, which is on the rear part of the property, and it would be one bedroom. We've reconfigured the bedroom, same total number of bedrooms, but reconfigured them so that there'd be a new stable manager's house with 2 bedrooms, so they can have his family on. He or she can have his family on site. So the design of the stable itself is identical. The only difference is the prior plan anticipated that one of the small cottages would be raised, and the other one would be rehabilitated to be the stable manager's cottage. The current plan anticipates both of those small cottages would be raised, and a new small 2-family would be built behind the barn, farther away from Strawberry Hill. I know Ann Reitmeyer spoke earlier, and I'll just confirm what she said in the discussions we had. The main house and the schoolhouse at the front of the property are not part of this project at all. We understand they're been deemed historically significant, and they really weren't part of the prior application either. There's a lot of work still going on there and a lot of time in regard to those. So those aren't really an issue at this moment in time. However, the other 2 cottages also were of a time frame in construction where they were likewise subject to historical commission review, and they found that those were not historically significant and authorized us and gave us authority to remove those 2 pretty beat up old buildings without any real great detail or character. So the only difference between the prior approved plan and this one is that, again, instead of just one cottage being raised, both will be in a newer, smaller building will be built, a small home will be built in the back.
Kenny, could you speak a little more slowly? It's a bit garbled, the audio you were getting. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I don't know if I can, but no. Is this better or?
Oh, yeah, that is.
So, as I said, the only substantive difference between the prior plan and this is raising the 2 old cottages and building a new stable manager's home. George, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to review the architectural plans, but it's a high quality design stable with all the relevant and appropriate facilities on board for these horses. And part of the bedroom count is incorporated into that barn, and that is ultimately subject to the Board of Health approval, but we've been in touch with them both on the prior application and during this application. The order of conditions on the prior plan is still in effect, and we haven't done anything that will change that. So we don't have to go back to the Conservation Commission.
Okay. So Vinny, the 2 cottages, they are not protected by the Historical Commission.
They would be protected, but the Historical Commission voted, and determined that they were not historically significant and gave us authority to raise those 2 buildings.
Okay.
And those are part of this project.
We will, after your presentation is set and after board asks questions, we'll open it to the public, and the Historical Commission will ask them to head off after they so they can lead off. But I think uh, there were two cottages. They're both going to be raised.
Correct.
One of them will be a manager's property, and then they're building a second one, or is it just one?
No. They originally, we were going to raise one of the cottages and make the other the manager's building. Now we're raising both and building
And,
just one
and
manager's building.
so there'll be one less structure on the property. Is that fair to say?
No, because we were going to raise one and renovate one. Now we're going to raise both and build one. So it's
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But in terms of what you would see right now, if you went there, there are two cottages,
right. Yeah.
and now there will be one new
Yes,
house.
that is
Okay.
correct. And
Okay.
that new house will be behind the barn, farther away from the street.
Good. And we'll get to the plan so people can see this. Laverne, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so what's happening to the main house? Is that going to be obviously renovated, added
That's under,
to you? Do
don't
we
know.
know?
Don't know that.
Is anybody living there now?
Not at this moment. People have lived there until the sale of the real estate, which took place in January of this year.
Okay. And
So
so you
up to
don't know
that
what
point,
they're going to do to that. Whatever they
it's
do
going to
would
be,
have to be
it
legal,
will,
whatever.
it's, it's funny. We had the meeting with the historical commission, and Ann can confirm almost everyone there on the commission and almost everyone on our side of the table all live in old houses. So we all, recognize the value, but we also recognize sometimes the challenges.
Yeah.
And Ann can confirm. What I said is often you have a conflict between what we deem neat and special in these old houses, and they conflict with the current state building code.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
those old staircases, I mean, Mike, you've probably seen them, those old
Yeah.
staircases that, you know, are not built that way anymore because it's illegal, that look great. So it's going to be a challenge. It has been a hodgepodge. And I think Ann might tell you, and I don't get too deep into it, but a portion of that house was moved from Dorchester back in the, I think, late 1700s. So it's a really interesting house. And other historical commission members have a ton of information in that regard. So that is way on the back burner at this point in time. It's going to take a lot
Okay.
of design and
What's going
thought.
to happen next?
In
Okay.
regard to the house, a lot of people, other people in town were interested in that. If that doesn't stay on site, to take that and move it elsewhere. So there's a lot of potential activity there, but that at this moment in time is on the back burner. The primary focus now is for my clients to sort of get this farm up and running for the family. Their girls are riders, and they want to be able to have them get the benefit of it, while they're young.
Okay.
All right.
Are they going to live here, or are they, or
I
is it?
don't know. I don't think so. Not at least not right away. That's why they want to have a high quality staff on site at all times.
Sure. Yeah, what sort of horses?
George, as I told you many times, I've never been in a horse, so I have no. Yeah,
Okay.
the big horses.
Okay. Well, I think here, I think what people would most want to see would be first, what does the land look like? So why don't we pull up the site plan, and I will share a screen with you if I do this correctly. Okay, and let me just see here if I can get this. Why is this not? Okay, share. There. Okay. Are you able to see this?
It's coming up.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. So here is Strawberry Hill Street. Okay, and where's Charles River? Is it up here?
It's that way. Yes, towards
Okay.
Dedham Street,
On the other side of the street.
on the other side
Okay.
of the street.
Mhm.
Now, and then the house itself, the existing house, you tell me when I'm getting warm.
You're right on top of it, right there.
Right here.
Yep.
Okay. And so that is staying the same.
right? We're not touching anything in anything in
Okay.
regard to that at all at this time.
Okay, and here is the old schoolhouse.
Correct.
That's staying the same. So people on Strawberry Hill Street, they see this. And now we've got a lot here. And what is happening here?
No, that's all part of the same property. That's not a separate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. And so now I see here we've got a proposed horse barn back here, and I'll show pictures of that in a minute from the architectural plan. But
Mhm.
that is back here,
Correct.
and so it's not on the street. And there's a proposed equipment garage. That's where you have all the stuff you need to take care of your paddocks and and then here, this is a sand arena, which is where horses, these, I don't know if there are horses who jump or horses who do dressage or something else, but that would be an area for that. Now, what is right here? Where my arrow is now? Is that uh,
That's the neighbor's property.
that's the neighbors? And
Correct.
what's their name?
I believe that's Mr. Malumian,
Okay,
Lawrence Malumian.
let's see. And is he in attendance? Out of curiosity.
There might be two abutters on that side. I don't recall.
Okay, but
I
basically,
don't see, sorry, I was just gonna say I don't see anybody named Lawrence in the attendees.
okay, that's good. And I mean, so they've got a barn. Now, in the plan that was approved, was the barn going to be in the same place?
I'll make it real simple for you. Every single thing is in the exact same place, except for if you go behind the barn, moving towards the back left-hand corner, that building right there is the only thing that's
That's
uh,
the only thing that's changing in this plan.
right.
Okay.
Removing the two cottages which were up in front of the barn, closer to Strawberry Hill, and
Okay.
reconstructing that house farther back behind the barn, farther away from Strawberry Hill Street. That's the only. The septic system's in the same place. The paddocks are essentially in the same place. The fencing's in the same place. The building, the stable itself's identical. There's a couple of little extra sand paddocks where to the right of the barn where the original house was going to be. But other than that, there's no structural differences on site.
Okay, so what legally, since you're a lawyer, legally, what are we supposed to approve? Certainly something to do with this structure here, I would think, to determine that it really isn't that big a change in use. It's consistent. What building the barn? Do you need us to say that you can build a barn?
Well, the reason we need you is basically under the bylaw
Yeah.
regulations. There's sort of two things going on. One, you're confirming the pre-existing non-conforming uses that were available, and basically, the zoning board of appeals had looked at this property a couple of other times many years ago and consistently have found, these are pre-existing non-conforming uses. And based upon those pre-existing non-conforming uses, we've determined a certain number of bedrooms. And those bedroom counts, provided the board continues to confirm that, we use in calculating what we can and cannot do on site. So, for example, the number of bedrooms in the main house and the two cottages were a total of 13. 4 of those bedrooms will remain with the main house. The remaining bedrooms will be dispersed throughout the other buildings. So, for example, the manager's house will have 2 bedrooms. The horse stable will actually have 3 bedrooms on site, and the remainder of the bedroom count is used for the stables themselves. Each stable uses a certain amount of capacity. The engineers can speak more specifically to those numbers, but that's sort of reviewed with the Board of Health. that based upon the number of stables we had available, we needed to have a certain number of bedrooms, and bedrooms equal flow into a septic system. So your purpose, I guess, is what you're asking. Your purpose is to determine whether, in fact, the structures that were on site were pre-existing, non-conforming, and that would be consistent with the prior board's decision. Then you have the ability at that point to give us authority to, under the statute, we can remodel, replicate, rebuild, reconstruct structures on site. And essentially, we're taking the existing structures and reconfiguring them into these newer structures that allow us to create these new facilities. That's
So
essentially.
it's not, I don't, this property presently, does it have horse barns or have there ever been horse? I know everyone would ride on the Blake's property, but is a horse barn a new use or is that even relevant? If it's a barn.
There has been a horse barn there for a while, for sure.
Yeah.
And if we were just building the barn, if we're just building a big barn,
Yeah.
We wouldn't need you.
That's right. That's right.
We wouldn't need
that's what I want to be sure about.
Yeah. We don't need you for the barn. Well, we like your opinion. We think it's nice. But we don't need you for that. What we need you for is to confirm the pre-existing structures and pre-existing uses. And then
and what we're addressing really are what used to be 2 cottages, now it's 1 cottage. And then I guess adding this proposed equipment garage in lieu
that was
of another cottage, or
the equipment garage, again, that would be allowed because it's an accessory use. It's not a dwelling. It's not using any bedrooms.
So you don't need us for that.
No, but I think the concept would be that we would want the board to be comfortable that the overall site plan is appropriate. In other words, I think it's relevant that we show everything, even if the board may not have a specific obligation to approve it.
Sure.
I think it's appropriate that the board see the entire facility.
Yeah.
So it the board is standing in on behalf of the town to make sure that this reconstruction, for lack of a better description, is consistent and harmonious with the neighborhood.
Well, you know what, and again, it's fun. I sit on a board in Aiken, South Carolina, and this actually comes up with equine properties. At what point does the use turn into a business where there's then a lot of traffic coming in and out? I believe what's represented here. And it's fine, the occasional sale of a horse, stuff like that. But is this a commercial activity that would have lots of in and out of the public?
No, this is a private facility. And in the past, the board specifically, had some, language in the decision to limit that sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons I provided the prior decision to give some guidance on what the prior board had thought about. But no, this is, the intent is for personal use, for the family and friends and that sort of thing. I'm sure from time to time there'll be, people, like you say, coming in to buy a horse or board a horse or, those sorts of things. But it's not a commercial activity. It's not, 52 horse trainers teaching people. This is a private.
And Vinny, you're a pretty well-known and accomplished real estate lawyer. What could be done with this property if some developer bought it who was not a horse lover?
George, when it comes to developing property, I have a great imagination. So a lot.
There could certainly be more than one house after.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what I think we're and I think Mike and Laverne, and again, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Dave was on the board or Nancy at that time, but when this was approved the last time, this is one of the things where all of us felt really good about the design and about the use.
Yeah.
And what I think is really fortunate and surprising, we have a similar owner with the same focus and concept of recognizing the location of this property in its location and availability to other riding trails that just go on and on throughout the back of this property. So I think it's a great attribute for the town, and I think it's a beautiful building.
Looks
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the same architect who did the prior plan.
I mean, if you look at the prior
Mhm.
plans and you look at this, the only difference is the name, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, and yeah, but I am sure the living quarters for these horses will be better than those for 99% of the people on the planet. No, but this is, gee, it's well, let me hear more from the board, questions, comments, and then what we'll do, we'll have public comment and questions. Board members, do you have any questions for Vinny?
Not really.
Vinny, on the plans, if you go back to the map, George, that it looks like you've marked one building that's being raised. Like, I'm curious where the other building that's being raised is located.
I had provided,
Sorry,
Go
With
back
the-
to the plan.
it's a different document.
The other,
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
this plan right here? Okay.
That's right. So if you look at sort of the top middle, there's like the marking where the building's being raised, and I'm like, I think there are a couple of other buildings kind of around that.
if
I'm
you
just
go
curious
towards the top of the plan, you'll see the other building straight back. Nope, to the right, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's the one that's being raised,
okay.
right?
Yep. And then if you come back towards I can't see it really good, towards the sand pits, it was
Yeah.
there.
It's
It
not
was-
shown on the plan
Yeah,
anymore.
it would be on the existing conditions plan, which is the plan prior to this one.
Sure. Because
So it's right about there.
Yeah. Yeah, what these are sand paddocks, these would be, for horses to be turned out, but you don't want them eating our rich New England grass in the summer and then colicking. So that could be a part of that. You've got a walker here for exercise. Gee, I mean, this is,
Is this a paddock in the front where
yes,
this wet
No,
meadow
that's
is?
No, that's
yes.
wetland.
Isn't it wetlands? Let me
Yeah,
just,
that's
So
pretty
that,
much.
so there's no paddock. They're not using that as a
No,
paddock.
that's wet. They're putting a fence around it so the horses wouldn't go in there.
let me just see here.
Yeah, it doesn't show it.
Yeah, let me
It
see.
would show it on the landscape plan, I think.
Yeah, it would be. Hang on.
There's also, on the engineering plan, sheet 2 shows the 2 pre-existing
Okay.
houses.
Okay.
So there's the blue fence around the wet
Yeah.
meadow.
Right.
It's interesting.
And
They
Sean,
have to go in
Sean
front of-
Riley, I see Sean's got his hand up, but we're gonna first finish with the board, then to the
They have to have
historical commission.
sorry, George, do they have to have an approval from the Concom to put a fence up around the wet meadow?
Yes.
Okay. Was that already approved in their existing order of conditions?
I don't recall. I'll double check on that.
Okay.
But whatever we do anywhere near there, we have to have their approval. And that might be actually pre-existing. I have to take a look at the plan. No, it isn't. So, yeah, but whatever we do anywhere in and around there, we have to get their permission.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, I think if the board is finished its comments for now, let's have questions from the public. And I promised the historical commission first opportunity. And then I see Sean Riley's raised his hand. Sean, you'll be next. could we have our architectural person? I mean, our historical person. Historical Commission? Let me just see here. Okay, the only one who's raised the hand so far to comment is Sean Riley. Well, let's have Sean. Okay, Peter Paulos.
Sorry, yes. For the record, Sean Riley, I'm with Time Bond. I'm the engineer on the project, and I was just trying to raise my hand
Oh,
to help Vin on some of the questions. The fence around the wetland was approved by conservation
Thank you, Sean.
previously. And Peter Palos is the architect, so he's probably just asking to be a panelist as well. So
oh,
just to assist in any of the questions. I don't have any
oh,
questions myself.
that's great. Well, they're lovely plans. I mean, really, they just look spectacular. Um, I think here at this point, Anne, you have got the floor.
Okay.
Please, Anne
Um,
Reitmeyer.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, a little bit more about what our research turned up for us. And we also had present at our historical commission meeting where we found the house to be historically significant. We had another member from the Dover Historical Society who was a longtime curator of the Carroll House, Mr. Kevin Shale, who also spoke with us. And our research indicated that actually the main house is not one house, but two houses. And both of them go back to the 1700s, so that the family who lived on site before the house from Dorchester was moved, which is where the other part of the house came from, he had a huge number of male children who managed to survive and actually served in the Revolutionary War. And then this other part of the house, which we believe, based on what we saw when we did a site visit provided by the contractor for the owners, is at the back of the current house, and that was also from the 1700s. So it really goes back quite a bit. And the people who have lived in that house have also served in ways that make the house a significant house. Subsequently, before the Blakes bought it, it was occupied by a family named Hale, who founded the prestigious and still existing law firm in Boston of Hale and Dorff. They were also involved in purchasing the land that became the Hale Reservation. So it's full of history. So I just wanted to tell you. And we will probably be going, as the demolition bylaw provides, to a public hearing to determine whether it's preferentially preserved. And that will be open to, anybody in the public who wants to attend. It will be published. The notice will be published in the same way that you publish for the Zoning Board of Appeals. So that's what I wanted to say on the Historical Commission side. The other thing, I'm changing my hats, which I'm actually not wearing. Mrs. Blake was a very knowledgeable and successful arborist, and there are a number of really fascinating and old and valuable trees that are planted on the site. I noticed when I went through the drawing that 17, and I think it's 17, I could be wrong, trees would be removed and another 34 planted. What I would just hope is that there would be consideration for saving some of the old and historical trees, if that's at all possible. And it's not easy to tell from the drawings exactly what trees are going to go where, but I figured I'd take that opportunity to just, because we were bowled over, those of us who went on the site visit. They are really beautiful, some of them. So
Well,
anyway,
you're doing great work for the town, Ann. This is so important to preserve our past.
yeah.
That's really great. I if you have finished, Ann,
Yes.
Sierra has her hand up. Please, Sierra Bright.
Hi, I just have a few comments to make. I'd like to reiterate about the trees, which are, I know Mrs. Blake was closely affiliated with the Arnold Arboretum in Boston, and I believe that some of these trees came from there. And it would be great to get someone from the Arboretum out to point out which trees are really important. Not someone who's an arborist whose main interest is in cutting things down or trimming them. They often don't know much about tree species and things like that. The second thing is I noted that there are 12 parking spaces by the barn. That does not sound like an enterprise just intended for family use to me.
Mhm.
And if boarding is going to be happening, then that will definitely be an increase in traffic because all the owners of the horses will be coming to ride and visit and so forth. And the third thing is the number of bedrooms. I imagine people on the board have not been in the main house, but there are a lot of bedrooms in the house, the main house. So if that's going to be reduced to 4 bedrooms, that sounds like quite quite a lot of demolition is going to be going on and being counted on, which may not be possible if the historical commission designates it as preferentially preserved. So those are the things that I wanted to comment on, and thank you very much.
Well, that's great. Oh, you know, and Sierra, I should ask for your address also. That's what we're trying to do with all comments.
55 Smith Street.
Excellent. Okay. That keeps the renegade out of towners from invading our meeting, although you're pretty well known. Um, okay, I'd like to know, is there anyone in attendance who opposes this? And if you would like to speak, you know, we're all neighbors. It's good to hear. Um, does anyone oppose? Raise your hand if you do, or if you'd like to comment.
George, can I ask, Vin, can you talk about the parking, the 12 spots?
Yeah,
That seems like a lot of parking spots.
well, you got to realize there's going to be a number of trainers on site, so I can get some clarity on the reason for that. And there's 3 bedrooms upstairs also for the people that live on site. That was in the original design. I don't know if there was any, specific intention. You're going to have the manager having his own parking, and then you have the 3 bedrooms up top for the stable.
But wouldn't the manager park by his house?
Oh, probably. Yeah, there's parking there. So I can get some definition, and I think that was just the engineers designing it so that there was substantial parking. The prior decision specifically, we had discussions about it, and in the decision, it specifically says not for commercial purposes. So
That's right, because you could have a party, you could have an exhibition where you invite people with a facility like this.
yeah,
But
but then
if it's not
So
a,
if you're board horses, is that considered commercial?
you know, I'll let Vinny answer that.
Dover has some
If so, we better shut down
yeah.
maybe 12 or 13 dozen houses in our residential zones. You know,
It's
boarding.
their intention to board, but I can, I'm sure we'll have a follow-up meeting. I can address some of these questions then. I did want to comment on a couple of things that I didn't think to bring up or to clarify in response to some of the concerns. a lot of the older houses in Dover, and there's some on Farm Street, just near Bridge Street, where they have a number of rooms, but they don't function as bedrooms, or they can't function as bedrooms. And often you open them up. And the way we've dealt with that on those houses, and with a house like this that's being renovated, is you're going to deed restrict it. So it's by the Board of Health specifically deed restricted to the number of bedrooms you can use. And that is how we've dealt with it in other similar older houses. And as Ann mentioned, and as you've all witnessed in some of these old houses, they get added to and added to and added to, and to get them to work inside sometimes is a structural challenge, but it opens up the floor plan, and then you work from there. But it would be limited to 4 bedrooms, and it would be publicly recorded. The other thing I think the board should take note of, and I should have brought this up right off the bat. The prior board made a determination that the pre-existing non-conforming structures were in fact valid pre-existing non-conforming structures, and that they had not been abandoned at any time, and therefore losing that non-conforming status.
Sure.
I talked to the prior owner, and he provided me with information, and I can provide redacted leases if needed, that all 3 of those structures on site, the main house and the 2 cottages, were occupied the entire time he owned the property, and they were never abandoned. Interestingly enough, they weren't in the greatest shape, but they were never abandoned. One family I know lived there, and then they bought a house on Pegan Hill. People have been in and out of there over the years. So the commercial use can be restricted. I wanted to confirm that the use hasn't been abandoned. As far as bedroom count, that will be controlled by the Board of Health, and often that's controlled by deed restrictions. Hope that's helpful.
Okay. Let me ask again, does anyone in attendance, and I see counting us, there are 28 participants. Does anyone want to speak against this? And we actually have a little time, if anyone would like to speak in favor of it as a neighbor, that always helps the record to know that. I know Dover citizens are not bashful at these hearings. Does anyone want to speak?
George, I think Peter wants to offer
What?
some insight.
Okay. Peter. Oh, but Peter is the architect, I believe.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping to help Vinny a little bit on
Thank you, Peter.
answering some questions as far as the parking stalls, since I designed this 4 years ago. And my wife's a professional writer, so I know a little bit about this.
Yeah.
When you come to barns like this, especially private, you're dealing with grooms, and a lot of times you'll have 3 grooms on site, hence the 3 bedrooms in the barn. But a lot of times you might have an intern that comes, and it might be a high school student, and so they'll come and park. You also have dentists, vets, farriers. They're planning on parking. The current owner has a little 2-horse little van to shuttle horses around. So that, whether that's parked by the equipment barn or in front, a lot of times they'll park in front, just the ease of bringing a horse in and out and putting them in a trailer. There's just a lot of activity, but it's all private activity. And in some of the towns that I've designed horse farms for like this, usually it came down to no advertising of stalls or boarding. It came down to no trainers teaching, the public and running a business out of it there. So there are a lot of different things, and none of that is planned or going to happen, because this is a completely private horse farm.
Sure. Peter, are they planning to breed or raise horses, have mares and foal, are these all performance horses?
These are all performance horses that they have. They're actually warm bloods, and they're hunters and jumpers So I know one of the clients grew up out west, and she told me when she was little, she used to barrel race, but I don't think they're going to barrel race here. So
no, I think they're probably commuting to Wellington, Florida in the winter.
Well, and they started this year doing that. So they're in the throes of that, although the Wellington Horse Show just finished. So
okay. Well, listen, we've got R. Baker, who raised a hand. You have the floor.
Hi, this is Alyssa Baker, Alyssa and Ryan Baker. We live at number 25. So we're direct abutters to this project, and we've kind of been in touch with the prior owner over the years and briefly with the new owner, and talked to them a little bit about this project. We were, in support of this when Alex Leventhal initially proposed it, and I think our concern now is, so we're not officially opposing anything, just for the record,
Sure.
but we have a concern about the potential 40B project that, may be taking place also right behind us. So,
Yeah.
our thought is, we have, it's this very precious land back here. I grew up here. I've lived here my whole life. And these two proposed septic systems are very large. We have almost every summer have to turn our irrigation off because our well almost runs dry. This is a lot of like infrastructure in an area that's been very quiet and conserved for hundreds of years. So my question is, how does the board sort of see this project now through a new lens, given a potential large 40B right in the same area?
Well, at this stage, of course, we don't have an official 40B application before us, although it's not unlikely that there will be one, but I guess water is something that is an obstacle whenever you build anything in Dover. I think here that having this approved project, if your concern is a 40B, this seems like a pretty benign user of water compared to what else could go into this piece of land. But we really, for this decision, and just generally, we can't take a position before or for or against any 40B proposal. The state would be very unhappy if we were to do that. And frankly, we need to look at 40B projects as they come up. For things that are developed near them, it just wouldn't be appropriate legally for us to be considering what might happen with a 40B. We've got to look at this project on its own.
Okay, I
Okay,
understand. I think it
but
just like, yeah, go
sure.
ahead.
No,
George,
I
George, I
understand.
wonder if the question's asked slightly differently to just sort of explore the
Sure.
issue, which is, are there things today that may not have existed 4 years ago when this project was initially contemplated that may influence kind of the size or the scope or the scale, the sort of, like, do the bedroom counts still make sense given sort of the droughts
Yeah,
that we've experienced and low water tables, right? Like, are there considerations in that space?
sure. And I mean, as I look at this just objectively, we've got a lot fewer bedrooms. I mean, in theory, bedrooms, I mean, you could have a totally different plan, including maybe just mass rental. I mean, bedrooms
Well,
would be
but
worth quite a
are
lot. I
but is
I
that
think this seems to be more low density than what you
Well,
would
one
find.
other thing too.
George? I thought we were adding a bedroom, right? Because I thought the
No,
the manager's house went up a bedroom versus it was a
yeah, but
one and now it's a two.
the main house went down a bedroom, and I think
Uh,
what George I think is talking about is the the number of bedrooms on site are used to calculate the use of water, but a substantial number of the bedrooms are actually being used with the horse stables, which aren't as nitrogen sensitive as a typical bedroom. So you have to calculate the amount of water used, and that needs to be put through the system, but it's not impacting the system the same way a regular bedroom would. There's less nitrogen loading, and that's where the issue
Yeah.
I mean, this might be an incorrect assumption, but I would suspect that a large horse stable would require like a calculation of more water than just an average household with, say, 7 bedrooms. Is that a silly thing to assume. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just seems like a really
I don't know
large
how
system.
a teenager taking showers compares with
Yeah,
hours.
sure.
Yeah. But
Is this property have a well or a
yeah,
couple of wells? Yeah, it's well water.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're all
Okay.
well water, yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, furthermore, it's definitely for us, obviously, we're looking out the back of the equipment garage, which isn't the best thing ever, but there's just a lot happening around us right
yeah.
now. And so we just want to be as informed as possible because it's on all sides at our
Well,
particular location.
well, we're going to be very, very, assuming there is approval, there would be very severe restrictions on possible business use with that extra traffic that could come in and definitely change the character of the neighborhood.
Well, as I said, my opening remarks, I was surprised and pleased that we had a buyer that had the same vision as Alex had
Yeah,
to do this. So, because the other possible uses there are, I think not
yes,
attractive and more, functional for this particular location. It's a perfect location for a horse farm.
Yeah.
yeah. No,
And
I think
all of those concerns are vitally important and
sure.
are recognized. And Dover is, very conservative when it comes to things like Board of Health, water usage, design. The Conservation Commission is extremely conservative, which is great. And I think they all do that for a particular reason, to try to keep the town the way it has been for many years as much as they can. And, I'm not going to comment on a potential 40B next door, but I just think this is a really great use for this site.
Yeah, I think that's right. If there are there any other comments from the public? If not, um, what we could do is have the board enter into a discussion about uh, approval, which would be along the lines of, uh, and what I'm seeing, I'm thinking what might be appropriate would be to approve the permit essentially as represented. And then what, if we were to do that, would be subject to my drafting an appropriate decision, which we would then, I think, be sure that that meets the needs of the owner and his professionals. There's no point in approving something that doesn't work. And then circulating that with the board. And we're going to have to meet anyway. We've got a totally different animal. We're going to have a hearing on a commercial kennel proposal, with a certain deadline. So we'll have to meet in maybe the next several weeks. Yes, Laverne.
So for the board members who have not walked the property, do you think we need to have a site visit?
I don't know that we need it, but certainly
Okay,
if
I mean,
there
I've been
were,
there because I was on the last
yeah,
site
I mean,
visit, but
I know the place
okay.
but we certainly could, but I'm thinking just in terms of schedules and time, I don't feel a need to, just knowing
Okay, yeah,
that so much has
it's
been
already been
approved.
done. Yeah.
And yeah, we are that we're following the footprint here. And yeah, my primary concern, just having been through this in other parts of the country, is that we be sure this doesn't turn into a commercial situation with lots of traffic. That's something we don't want. Uh, but would it be appropriate uh, to have a motion to approve, but subject to my preparing a decision, essentially patterning it on the permit that is expired, with the differences that have been pointed out to us by council. And then that draft decision, after it's been circulated, we would consider that at our next meeting. So this would be really a motion to have me draft something of that nature. but not to approve it, not to approve it yet. Do you have, Vinny and architects, when do you want to put spades in the ground and actually start work? I mean, when, well, Sean, I don't hear you. There you go.
No, Vinny,
I was
you're
saying, Vin,
muted.
you're muted. So we still have to submit
Sorry
for
about that.
Yep,
Oh.
that's okay. We've submitted to the engineering department for a review of the erosion and sedimentation control and for the additional trees that we're putting on. So we'll be working with the engineering department over the next several weeks, and then we'll be submitting for a building permit. There's some work that that's to be done to abate some of the buildings and do some of the demo. So I think that works. It's a good idea to draft that decision and then review it.
Yes.
I don't know if Vin has anything to add.
No, I agree. And I would only say my client's basic comment was, this is for my girls, my family. I want to get as possible because, as we all know, kids have a habit of growing up and moving on. So, to the extent they can get the greatest possible use for their family, that's their primary focus.
Sure, that's right. Well, I think would someone Nadir, are you in the motion mood?
I guess we're making a motion to conditionally approve or to approve the drafting of an opinion reflecting kind of the understanding that we've established today. Is that?
Yes, that's right. But not a final approval until you've got actual text to look at.
So I move to draft an opinion reflecting the understanding that we've reached today, with the understanding that that will be a draft opinion and not a formal approval of the motion.
Yes.
So moved.
Second?
I second that, but do we have to put into that motion that the applicant's name, Zeal Dover
Oh,
application for 15, 17, 19 Strawberry Hill? I don't know. We have to
well,
be a little more formal.
I think I can write that in there.
Okay, all right. Just
seems like Laverne's in the motion mood.
Yeah, this is the only project we're talking about. Okay, but I think that no, we need
okay.
a
So I
second.
second.
Then we
I
need to
second.
have a roll call vote with our names
Okay.
under our open meeting law. So all in favor?
Laverne Lovell, aye.
Nancy Green, aye.
Nancy Green, Nadir Ahmed.
Nadir Ahmed, aye.
Mike, okay, I've got, and George Chimento, aye. All right, that's good, and we've got 5 or 6 more minutes before our next hearing. Vinny, Peter, Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
All right. Had a
Okay.
good evening, everybody. Sorry for my technical difficulties.
No, that's
No problem.
That's okay.
You made it.
Yeah, I made it finally.
You
Cheers.
made it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, we've got 5 minutes. One of the things on the agenda was, and we're going to take more time for Nancy and also the draft regulations, but we do have draft minutes that actually from our November meeting. We didn't meet in January because an applicant canceled his plans for a hearing. So, my thought was, rather than have the public wait until a next meeting to have minutes approved, that I would draft them, circulate them, and then post them, making clear to the public these are just, for approval. So what I would like to share with you is, and let me just make sure I do this right. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. Yeah, this was really all dedicated to the Wilson Street culvert. This was the application by the building department for work near Powasset Brook. And so that had to go to us. And I think we learned a lot. There were really some great statistics and study from the engineers on this one, and we approved it. And I think the town, I haven't checked the town meeting warrant. They needed their funds to be approved at town meeting. So I assume that they're going to ask for money for this. But this is all that we did at this meeting. If there are no any comments, questions, if not, a motion to approve them would be great, and then we could get them official.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, and let's have a roll call vote.
Laverne Lovell, yes.
Mike Donovan, yes. Nadir Ahmed, aye.
George, I don't remember being at this meeting. Maybe I missed something. Was I at this November 5th meeting? I don't think I was. I don't remember the conversation. I might be getting old.
Ah,
I think you
gosh.
might be right. I think you might have been out.
I
Were
think I was
you
out.
Ah, okay. There. Oh, that's
Good correction.
okay. You're out.
I was out.
Just the way Lenin removed Trotsky from Soviet history. You're gone. Okay. So we've got everyone else, and I will make that revision. And now I think we are just about ready to start our next hearing. And let me just okay. And let's see here. Okay. Okay, we're almost at 8:15. Okay, it is now officially 8:15. We're going to open a hearing. It was advertised. Uh, it's a it's a hearing on the application of Amberly and Gregory Karolitz of 23 Church Street, Dover. And they are requesting a special permit to do Airbnb short-term type rentals, subject to conditions as we may require. So this has been advertised, and people nearby have all been notified. I think what we need to do is, let me just see here. What we should have now is we should have Amberly join the panel. Could we?
Just for the interest, I'm in a butter, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Oh, okay. That's thank you, Nancy. Okay, do we have the applicants here? I'm just looking at attendees.
Yep,
There,
Here
George.
they are. Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
We have the boss. We have the boss.
Holy cow, boy. Yeah, this
He
is
snuck out.
this is professional politics.
Hard to say
Okay.
no.
Okay. Well, listen, your application was very clear what your intentions are, and it sounds, but why don't you tell the meeting what what you're doing and how you're going to handle all of this if you get a permit? And
Yeah,
okay, so go ahead.
absolutely.
Floor is yours.
So I'm Amberly Correll. This is Greg. This is Rosabelle. But we've been in Dover for the last 5.5 years. We've had our first two kids in Dover, and we're due in the next month with our third.
Oh my gosh.
And Greg took a new job opportunity that actually moved us pretty suddenly to Manhattan for the short term. It was a hard decision, but we figured while our kids are young, it's a good time to do something like this, and we can be back by the time Rosabelle can be in kindergarten at Pickering and before that. But with that came the decision of what to do with our house in the near term,
Yeah.
because our goal is to come back. And the hardest part about leaving and making that decision was honestly the community we built in Dover. So we came up with the idea of most of all of our families also in the surrounding area. So ideal case scenario would be able to stay very integrated into the community, come back for longer extended stays, see family, but then also be able to make some income while we are away, opposed to doing a longer 12-month lease rental where once you lease it,
Yeah.
come back.
Well, actually, in Dover, you don't need anyone's permission if it's going to be 30 days or more.
Yes.
Yeah. You're during this next year, um, how much time will you be spending back here in Dover? Or is this really um, a desire to be a full-time short-term rental place for an entire year or an entire 2 years?
So I think having the option to be able to come back and forth for 2 weeks, have the kids still have the house, see all of our family, see all of our friends, around like definitely summertime, holidays, kind of as this is all a bit new. So we're not sure adding the third what it's all going to look like, but I think enough time to feel like we were back in the community and seeing everyone,
Sure.
but then also here and trying to do what we have to do.
Yeah. So we were back for the Jewish holiday and Easter weekend this past week, which is great. So we
Yep.
got to see a lot of our friends if they're even on here.
Sure.
And so I think the reality is, so like a lot of our families in Needham and Sudbury and Wellesley, and a lot of our friends are still in town. So I think ideally, if we have the ability to do short-term rental, we can try to offset some of our income. And obviously, I think
Right.
we're thinking about it. Hopefully then it also gives people who have family that are coming to visit a nice place to stay, and for whatever reason. So I don't think we have all the details fully. We don't
Right.
know what it will look like, but we want to have the option to be able to come back and be in our home, which is still furnished, and have access to our family and friends without having to stay in a hotel or something like that.
Sure.
So that would be like the goal for us.
Right.
And we have our car here, so we can come back and forth. And with our third kid on the way, Amberly's parents are 45 minutes from Dover. My parents are 15 minutes from Dover, and we would still have our home base to be able to come and be, and then ideally not just be hemorrhaging money on the mortgage and other things like that.
Right. Oh, no.
Just trying to make it make sense.
What we should do, because we do have this come before us, and I think I'd like to share the screen and pull out the factors that we looked at for another application with a somewhat similar situation. You know, job was requiring being away from Dover, intending to come back. And let me just share that those conditions. So bear with me a minute while I kind of. Okay, here we are. Here are the conditions we had actually for a previous decision. Let's see, let's check off the box, okay? See what's here. Number one, it's solely for your use as owners. So if you sold the house, the permit doesn't go with the house. I don't think that should be any problem. Uh, let us know in advance if you are going to change the ownership. Okay, that'd be because that could happen. You could find, you could find a lovely $40 million condo in Manhattan. Just go there. Okay. Now, under our statute, 2 years is the maximum time for a permit, and then we would put in, if we do approve this, we'd put in that 2-year date from the date of the permit, but we would have the right to cancel it anytime. And there's more about this later. That's very important for neighborhood concerns. Then this particular applicant used Airbnb. We thought Airbnb, they do seem to vet out, they have a process, but this would not be for word of mouth short-term tenancies, where we would be expecting that a professional service be involved because and their thing. It wouldn't have to be Airbnb, but if there are other satisfactory companies, that would be it. If and again, this is what we anguished over previously, just so you can see how we did this. No off-street parking. I mean, no on-street parking. Everything off-street. That was key. Then tenants, no pets and no indoor smoking. Ideally, it'd be nice if they don't smoke anywhere. That would be.
No thanks.
Yeah, huh?
We're with you 100%.
Yeah.
We also
Okay.
we don't have pets currently, so that would be
Yeah.
we would continue through to.
Well, I hope 6 is not a deal stopper. No drugs. Okay, and that includes legal marijuana and all that stuff. It just tenants can't do that. Period. Permit goes out the window if anyone ever does that. Bars, tenant parties, other things. Especially with the soccer matches and other things coming about. I don't know if people will come up this far for that, but soccer fans can be pretty, and also graduation parties. That was actually something we addressed with this applicant to be sure that it was going to be quiet tenants, not partying, which you want also just the
For our
preservation
house
of your
in
house.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Now, this next one, I don't know if this fits your situation. We didn't want it to be a permanent 2-year deal where every day or every couple of days was a new short-term tenant for 2 years. We wanted this to be only for 6 months in any 12-month period. Now, this owner was coming back periodically, so that they would actually be living there periodically. And that was gave people some comfort rather than say that, and again, you don't need this for anything long, 30 days or more. This is for stuff that's under 30 days.
Yep.
But this was important to us in this situation. And then the primary concern, because there were unhappy neighbors, which is understandable, and it doesn't mean they don't like you or anything else. It's just it's not you. It's going to be strangers. And
Yep.
I know for your application, I believe there is going to be a person commenting adversely. So then again, any complaints, even if minor, if they're valid, the permit gets yanked. That would be how this would work. So that leaves a lot of responsibility on you while you are all the way in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But you
I can share a couple things about how we've just thought about it. I know.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I know through Airbnb, you can have like an auto book or an approved book feature. So we definitely would set it up so that the person wanting to rent would have to send us a paragraph on who they are, what their intention for the stay is, and kind of give us some background before we approve them for the stay. So I think that's one way to do that. I think our house is currently furnished with most of our stuff that we love. So we are equally as motivated to keep parties out and to manage that. We also have ring cameras fully around the outside. So if we see lots of cars or commotion, we have many family members and people we could call to shut that down very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we'll be hiring a full-time property manager to help us manage this, who will be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell us about the full-time property manager.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to be there to turn it over, clean it if there's problems with any appliances and things like that. But then also if there are parties or complaints or anything like that, they're the one physically there able to manage that.
Would they be there more than once a week?
I think it depends on the frequency of when we're there and then how long. Mm-hmm. Ideally, we would like to aim for longer stays.
Yeah.
We've had many friends and family in the area who are doing house renovations, or their house got flooded and they need longer stays while some of that is happening. Mm-hmm. So it kind of would be on a need basis.
Yes. Okay. I think now, before board members, what I think would be helpful to us would be to find out who is in attendance with an interest. Listen to either their praise or their concerns, and then we as a board could discuss that. I think that might help us a bit, if that's okay with you. Hear from the public first before we do more. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's find out who wants to. Is there anyone here who would like to raise their hand? And I do have one comment that was. Okay. Here we are. Zach Galvin, and we've got Jessica C. and Everin Gundes. Okay. Let's start out with Zach first, okay?
Hello there, Amberly and Greg. We've never met. I'm Zach. My family grew up at 14. My mother is the resident there, owns the house. She's Audrey.
She's Audrey, and this is 14.
Yep.
Okay.
She's been there about, I guess, almost 50, a little more than 50 years.
We know Audrey.
Great. And in her old age, when I talked to her about this, her house is vacant at the moment. I am often there 3 or 4 times a week. But when I spoke to her about this, she's really worried. She's worried about, for her, in an elderly fashion, strangers being in the neighborhood, that you may not know, that the neighbors don't know, and what that may or may not mean relative to her house. So I'm speaking on her behalf. I'm not putting my information into this, but she has real concerns about short-term rentals on the street. She had a couple of questions relative to the board, if she can ask them, or the panel. And there are 3 questions that she has. She's
Sure.
wondering, first of all, has Dover approved a lot of Airbnbs to houses in the past, and what does
Okay,
that look like?
I can answer that question. The approval process, no, only because um, our this when they come to us, there are 2 ways they come to us. Uh, People like these applicants come to us because they want to follow the law. There are a lot of the building inspector sometimes sees something, tells the people, look, you can't do this without applying. And then we get an application. And then we do not have a short-term rental police squad in Dover. If you
Yep.
go to Airbnb, you'll find some people are doing this
Yep.
with no permission at all, which means they actually are breaking the law here, or at least our bylaws. But we just don't have the staff to really go at that. But the question is, yes, we do it, and this is specifically allowed in the bylaws. It's not, you know, it's not as if we have a situation where people are doing something that doesn't have a bylaw that allows for it. And we have had elderly neighbors with legitimate concerns that they just don't want this. But I believe all we can do is to require conditions, put these permits on a very, very tight leash, and with reasonable conditions. But I don't. The concern, which really is understandable, that is not a basis to deny a permit when the bylaws provide for permits.
Okay. Her other question was relative to, if this were approved and there were problems, where does the resident go in immediate concern?
What you would do, you would get in touch with the Board of Appeals. The permit was issued by us. If we got a complaint, we would try to figure out the best way with our volunteer staff to check it out. We would certainly be in touch with Amberly and her husband and let them know. And we would find out, was this just a one-time thing that was a mistake? Is it something that's uh, uh, something that makes us uncomfortable with the way it's being handled? Uh, the the permit is not written in stone forever, no matter what. It's revocable, and your complaint would go to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
One question.
Yes, Laverne. Yes.
In answer to Zach's first question, I only know of 2 others. We did the one on 25 Dover Road.
Yeah.
And then Mariah Reese has been running a B&B on Pine Street for quite a
Yeah.
while. There must be others that we don't know about.
Oh,
I don't know if
yeah.
we have a registered list, but those 2 haven't posed any
Yeah.
problems yet.
No,
So,
no.
yeah,
Okay.
it's been
Well,
very quiet.
Like I said, you guys seem like nice people. My mother wants to voice that she's extremely concerned, and despite the nice people that you are, she's not in favor of this happening. She's pretty concerned about it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach. And who else has a hand raised? How about well, Kristen Daly Bartlett stealing the show with that nice dog picture, I guess. Okay, Kristen, why don't you go ahead and speak? You've got to undo your microphone, Kristen.
Sorry about that. Hi,
That's
Kristen
okay.
Bartlett. Hi, guys.
Okay, Kristen, what's your address?
19 Church Street.
Okay.
So I would like to be very positive in this discussion and first and foremost attest to, as human beings, I couldn't imagine two finer people that I could live next to. And I have enjoyed every interaction with these fine people. And I trust them implicitly with my dogs, with my home, with my children, adult males, but they trust me with theirs, which is interesting. But the point that I'm trying to convey is I only have support for Greg and Amberly because it is my position that if there are already existing Airbnbs in Dover, how can I distinguish just because it's next door to me, it's not available or legal? So, and I do believe that they would do an honorable job, and discernment is top criteria for our safety, and they want to come back here. And at the same time, I absolutely understand Audrey's concerns, and I think two truths are true. But I want to highlight, if you were going to give the permit to someone, you couldn't give it to finer people.
Okay.
Absolutely
That's very
not a
helpful.
finer couple. And they don't want anything but fine people there because they want to come back here. So again, I don't really understand why we're here. If they're already given out within the town, why would they not be permitted to have the permit?
Yeah. You know, I think that's exactly
And I'm the closest one.
response to
I would be
Zach.
the one to oppose it. And I understand Audrey. I love Zach. I love Audrey. And I have another neighbor as well. Their concerns are valid.
Yes.
Absolutely valid too. But if it's already here, how can it not be to find people?
You're absolutely right. And that's why what we have done is taken the approach that we grant the permit with what we believe are pretty stiff conditions to start with. And then if there are problems, we will yank the permit. I mean, we'll consider what's going on.
I can attest, I can absolutely speak on their behalf that they will do everything in their power to make this a seamless, positive experience. Yeah. But with love in my heart, I also say we don't control what we don't know, and we wouldn't wish bad things for them, but we all know that they could happen. But they would not be contributing to that. I know that.
No, I know that. Well, listen, this is really helpful. I will, Kirsten, you will be memorialized in the minutes.
Okay.
let me ask Andrew Blum for your comments, Andrew, and your address, please.
Hi, good evening. Andrew Blum. I'm at 5 Normandy Road, so right on the other side of the center.
I'm sorry. What road's a little slower, please?
5 Normandy.
Oh, Normandy. Okay.
I was actually probably going to lower my hand because I feel like Kirsten really said it perfectly. She sort of stole some of my sentiments, but we actually had an interest a couple months ago. We actually got some pretty severe water damage from some ice dams from the January storm, and the closest rental was Dedham, I want to say, when we were looking to try to get out for 3 or 4 days while they were drying out part of the house. So having, first and foremost, just a good option to stay close in the community would have been awesome. And then, obviously we'll just add to Kirsten color, the color that she provided around Greg and Amberly specifically that, you really can't find two better people, humans, neighbors. And I'm counting down the days till
Yeah.
then they'll, when they'll be back, permanently. And I know how thoughtful they have been and will be in ensuring that it's a super smooth process and,
Well, listen,
um,
Andrew, that's great. And of course, God knows what they'll be like after 2 years in New York. But
as
yeah.
long as they're still Red Sox fans, then we'll have them back.
Okay. Everin Gundes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Everin?
Yes, so this is actually Tara Gundes. I'm
Oh,
Everett's
Tara.
wife.
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm just using his Zoom. Uh, so I won't take up too much more of your time. I'm at
And what's your address, Tara?
11 Meeting House Hill.
Okay.
So I won't take up more of the time because Kirsten and Andrew said things so perfectly. We are basically right through the trails from Church Street. My young daughter, plays in the woods behind their house. I have no concerns about them doing this because I also know Greg and Amberly. I know their character. I know that the conditions that you have set in what you've set for them, that those are, as you keep saying, they seem to be strict, stiff conditions. Those are conditions Greg and Amberly would set for themselves at a baseline. So I know that the people coming into their home, the people that they're going to rent their home to, are going to be upstanding people as absolutely as much as they can control of it. Like I said, my young daughter plays in the woods behind their house, and I have no concerns about this happening. And I'm just going to double down on everything that Kirsten and Andrew said about their incredible character and the fact that they're going to come back to this community and they want it to be a safe and wonderful place for their own kids. And coming in and out too, coming back from New York and spending time here, they want to make sure that this is their things. Those are their things in their home. And I know how much they care for that home, and they don't want to see any of that get destroyed or disrupted in any way. So I just wanted to voice our unconditional support for Greg and Amberly.
Well, Tara, thank you very much. Jessica C.
Hi, I'm another member of the Amberly and Greg fan club. I really
Hey,
don't.
Jessica, what's your last name and your address,
Oh,
please?
sorry. Jessica Cooper, and I'm at 27 Breton Road.
2027, say that again.
Sorry, my Boston accent. Breton Road, Bretton.
Oh, Breton, okay.
Sorry. I just want to echo what everyone was saying, and really noting that I think that one of the most amazing things of enabling this to happen would be that it would be allowing Amberly and Greg to remain a part of the community while they are far away. I know that they've already come back, and we all jumped at the opportunity to spend time with them. They are very eager to remain a part of the community. They want their children to go to the schools. And this is really allowing them to do something that's wonderful for their family by following an opportunity for Greg. And I know that Amberly and Greg are both very involved in the community, and that returning to Dover is a huge priority of theirs. So just as Tara was saying, they're not planning to, ruin the town and then burn it down and run away. They very much want this to be a success and remain a safe community. So I'm a big yes to allowing them to do this for the
Okay.
family.
Well, listen, that is great. Thank you, Jessica. DCB iPhone, name, address, and serial number, please.
Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. I think I was muted. This is David Barkoff, and I live at 5 Old Colony Drive. So I'm just kind of down Springdale around the corner from Greg and Amberly.
Dave, and spell your last name, please.
Barkoff, Barkoff.
Aoff.
Yeah, Barkoff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, Dave. Go ahead. Tell us how great these people are.
Well, I think a lot of people have told you guys how great they are, so I'm not gonna belabor the point, but they are really, really fantastic people. But just a couple pieces so this doesn't get kind of misconstrued about, them leaving town and using this as a rental, the third party protections that are available through places like Airbnb and VRBO fully vet people who are coming in.
Yeah.
There's full transparency, full traceability of who's renting the house, and then the owner again has to approve the rental. So there's a lot of scrutiny behind this. They're backed up. They've got a lot of friends and family in the area. God forbid if something was to happen, but keep in mind that they're looking to use their house as base camp. They're not moving to California. They're
Okay.
not moving, overseas. They're looking to come back and forth. So much so in the last, I don't know, month, I've bumped into Amberly and her kids at Carroll Park. So, everything that
All
they're
right.
saying is really holding true, and they're just looking to subsidize things and have people love and enjoy their home as their friends and family have.
Okay, listen, now what we're going to do is go back to the conditions that we have allowed in the past. And bear with me. Let me just see here. Share, okay. All right. So I think here, as we went through this, I believe all of these conditions made sense for you, but you were a little concerned about number 8. Have I got that right? This was basically saying you do short-term rentals only 6 months a year. And that, and I'm thinking you'd like to do this possibly for more than 6 months a year.
So I think we just also don't know, honestly, if there's like what the demand is even like. And I think this is an opportunity for us to just make sure that we can come back. So I think it's hard in the seat we're in now to say how often or frequent it's even going to get rented out. And I think to the level we want to make sure we're vetting the people that stay there. We have no idea.
Yeah, I would think honestly, 180 days a year, that's a lot of activity.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, and that, so, that is essentially the way we would, the idea was that this not be 365 days a year of short-term tenants. 180 days a year would be enough. What I would suggest is, if the board agreed that we would stay with this template for this permit also. And then, listen, if it gets to the point where you think you're going to need more, come back to the board and explain it. And you'll also have a track record at that point
Right.
of decent activity.
And it could be someone wants it for extended period of time, which is over the 30 days.
Yeah, well, and anyone who goes 30 or more, that's not a short-term tenant.
Right.
That doesn't count against you.
Got it.
But I think this makes sense for how we're thinking about it.
Okay. Well, listen, I think
George, just 1 second. I think there are a couple of people in the waiting room that have their hands up.
Oh, are there still? Okay. Let me just stop share. And all right. So who is Dover Planning Board? Who is
Oh, sorry, this is Val Lynn.
I'm sorry, who?
Oh, sorry, George. This is Val Lynn at 14 Haven Terrace.
Oh, Val. Okay, yes. Okay, go ahead. And I ought to get, and so you're on the planning board. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not here as a planning board official. I'm here as my own persons. I apologize that it's coming up as
no, that's fine. Val, what's your address?
14 Haven Terrace.
Okay, got it. Go ahead, and you're speaking as an individual, not for the board.
Yes, thank you. I just had a couple of questions for the board. in some communities, they require that folks who have short-term rentals need to have the name of the person who will be contacted should there be an issue at the home, and it has to be someone in state or local. So I didn't see anything required on the document that you were showing. Is that something that the board thinks is?
I think it's certainly, my thought was we've got names and emails already. So I don't know that we need to put that in the permit. And basically, whether we contact them or not, if there's a problem there, the permit goes. And so they need to stay in touch with their property. And certainly, yeah, we'll have this. If we get a complaint, we'll be in touch. I don't think we need to put that into the permit.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if
Yeah.
that information is shared with the fire, with police, like how the board handles that.
Yeah. No, we don't. Again, if there's a complaint, we're expecting the complaint comes from the neighbor to the planning board, to the Board of Appeals, and you know
George?
that, and then we follow up.
George, it's Mike.
Yes.
I don't think the complaint comes directly to the board. It goes to the building inspector.
Well, good.
And
Yeah,
if-
that's yeah. You know,
and if there's a problem,
yeah.
Dover PD gets involved. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it gets,
well,
gets very visible very quickly, but
yeah.
But the building inspector goes in, checks it out, and says, "I'm yanking your special permit. You got to go before the board and get another one." So
you might see what I would prefer would be the complaint coming to us, and then we get the building inspector involved. Because it may, the building inspector has a lot of expertise in some things, but some of this stuff is really not there. So, but your recommendation, Mike, would be that if there's a complaint, that we put in that we tell that neighbors are told in our permit that they should contact the building inspector instead of the permit granting authority. I really don't. I'd rather have it come to us, Mike.
We're not paid employees, though. We don't work for them.
And we decide if it's something for the building inspector, or it may be just we get in touch.
Just a phone call, yeah.
With the owners. Yeah, I don't see Walter's.
Yeah, I was actually, George, I was just thinking if so so family members of mine have Airbnbs, and I'm just speaking on behalf of their experience. If there's some sort of a medical condition or an emergency, like not something that you can wait until Monday morning when the building department opens up, but something that happens on a weekend where an emergency personnel is called, who is contacted? I know that the applicants mentioned that they have a property manager, and that's great. Just to make sure that that property manager, I don't know if they're available 24/7 or how that works, but just to make sure that the town knows who to contact when there's an emergency that can't wait until Monday, like if it's on a Friday or a Saturday.
Okay, so what you're saying is that in the permit that they would be required to tell their tenant
who to call. Yeah.
Who to call.
Who to call. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody.
911.
So I mean, and I think see, if I were a tenant, you call the landlord, and it's their problem. And certainly you can give people a listing of the fire department and police department. I mean, I think that'd be fine, that we have as a condition that short-term tenants are given a list of our protective agencies with numbers to call, and that they call you with problems too. So I think that way, a stranger who needs a cop right away has a number from the landlord. Here's how you get in touch with the police.
Right. And
I think
and
that's a good suggestion.
yeah, and I know some places have a requirement that you need to have someone available to show up within a certain amount of time, like within 2 hours, if there was an emergency that needed to be addressed.
Boy, that is,
Wouldn't that be nice, huh?
I'm
So
just
just something to
comparing
think
this.
about.
Yeah, yeah, I would be inclined not to make this that much stricter. I mean, it's and it's really, we haven't had this problem. Our concern is basically, if there is bad behavior going on, we want to know about it right away. We'll decide whether we get the building inspector involved but we would know that.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm hoping that there won't be bad behavior,
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that there will be, but even if it's like a grill fire or,
yeah,
things happen, like just emergencies and accidents happen. So,
yeah,
just to
yeah.
kind of keep that in the back of your mind, maybe.
And I think Mike's concern is, hey, we don't have like a full-time office thing. Now, I happen to look at the damned email 24/7, but we don't always have that. Um, let's do that. And Mike, well, let me see if I can work something out that accommodates you. And I'll talk with you offline more about why I don't want to quite go that route. Uh, Okay, board members. Uh,
There's one more lady with her hand up.
okay, let me see. Is it
Nancy.
Nancy. Okay, please, Nancy. Okay, Nancy, go ahead. What's your address? And you've got to unmute yourself, Nancy.
Oh,
There you
sorry, 20 Church Street.
20 Church. Okay.
I am the only abutter that directly faces the Gerlichs, and I'm very concerned. And I wrote a letter to you stating the
Yes.
reasons why.
In fact,
I am a senior citizen. I've been in the town for 45 plus years. And I directly, I'm across the street from them. And
yes.
I directly face them. And I really object to having an Airbnb across the street from me because, of course, you can vet these people. I mean, they're a lovely family. You guys are a lovely family. And I know you've got the best intentions on what you're trying to do. But I'm a single female living across the street from them. And my security is very important to me as well. I moved to Dover for the safety of the town and for the quiet of the town. And I know you're trying to do it on a short-term basis, but the question is with Airbnbs, you hear of these horror stories because you can vet them, you can vet these individuals, but you sometimes just don't know what you're going to get. And I understand what you're saying, George, about having this as a short-term proposition for them. But if there is a problem, why does their problem become my problem or Kirsten's problem across the street? I'm always worried about safety. I just think that allowing something like this will open up a Pandora's box. And then I just hope that they don't rent to anyone that's coming in for the World Cup games, which I'm assuming you're not going to. But I am just objecting. Thank you very much for showing that. I really object to having it.
Yes.
For all those reasons.
No, Nancy, and again, your letter, actually, I was going to introduce this in case you were not here. But yeah, basically, these are really legitimate concerns. But the town, unless town meeting, and I'm not even sure legally you could prevent short-term rentals, even if the town change the bylaw. But here, there is nothing specific to this property or these owners that would, in my view, allow us to say no permit. And we're not town meeting.
I understand.
Yeah, so we've got to deal with really the provision of the bylaw that says permits are granted by the Board of Appeals.
So if there is a problem, their problem becomes my problem.
If there is a problem, I mean, a problem. Now, obviously, if something happens and it's devastating, and so what good is it to call the Board of Appeals? The damage is done. I mean, it's a risk. Unfortunately, everyone in town has. We've got tradespeople driving through on pickup trucks. I mean, the possibilities of bad things happening. There are so many of them. Even
I understand that. I mean, I've had someone come through my gate on the side into my backyard because they wanted to find out what was in my backyard, and I have gates.
Yeah, it's but I think here in my view, and the board's going to see the board. We wanted to hear people first, and now we will have more of a discussion about this, but it's a legitimate concern, but there's nothing here that says, yes, these owners actually have a record of felonies. We shouldn't, even then, I don't even know you can legally, if you did your time, I think you're sort of, again, but it's a legitimate concern, but this is up for town meeting to say no, in these circumstances. But I hear you, and that's why we will have this. And if bad things happen, honestly, my preference, my first choice, since you're neighbors and these are great people, call them. But you would call us if you wanted us to consider revoking the permit.
Okay.
And we will, and if there are emergencies, you call the police department, you call the fire department. It's just, I think that really is all we can do here.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, though, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Okay. So now, board members, is there anyone else who wishes to speak? If not, I think it will be good. I think we've probably heard what we can. My recommendation would be that we adopt or that we approve this special permit substantially on the same conditions we did for 25 Dover Road, that I would write up this decision the same way. And so I think if there were a motion, and let me just get this thing in front of us so we know what we're talking about for sure. Okay, and it's not that. Bear with me. Okay. And this is it. Take your time looking at it. Is there anything here you'd want to change, or should we approve this and I fill in the blanks? And Nancy's not voting or commenting. Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy Green.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the only question in my mind is whether the board wants to add a condition of having somebody local that is available, on relatively short notice. But I think, it doesn't strike me as necessary, but is an option if if we feel so inclined.
Okay.
And I guess Amberly and Greg, would that be
be viewed as a hardship for you to be able to add.
Let's just see here what we could do here. Okay. Uh, so let's see, something like this. This is not great English here. Okay. I mean, this is something I think they would do anyway, but does this get kind of where we should go on this?
Yeah, I think that looks good.
Okay. Good. Okay.
You ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move to grant the special permit under the conditions reflected in the sheet now presented on the screen.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor and roll call vote?
Aye, Laverne Lovell.
Aye, Mike Donovan.
Aye, Nadir Ahmed.
Okay, and I, George Chimento, and Nancy's not voting. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Is that little adorable child still here? Oh my God. Okay. Listen, you can run for office. She's
charge.
It's very grateful.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, everyone. And, the only comment that I'll say is we love the community. We're going to do our best to make sure that everybody around feels comfortable. That's the most important thing for us too. So thank you for all the words, and we'll do our best to also come back and have some fun with everybody too. So,
well, I think that's great.
and if we can, let's run it back one more time, because our friends, we really appreciate the kind words.
Well, listen, great luck with the move and your career. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, we're on to Nancy Green. And Nancy, I will share your work product with us for, okay, we adjourn the hearing. Yeah, I think, okay. So next, let's see here. I'm going to share your stuff, Nancy. Okay, let me just see here. Just a sec. Okay.
Oh, good job.
Nancy, it's your show.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple weeks ago, George reached out to all of us and said, hey, he saw an opportunity to perhaps take a look at our application fees. And in order to do that, he really wanted to know, how do we compare for the Board of Appeals compared to other towns? So I volunteered to do this assignment for George because he's such a nice guy. So you can see that Dover. So when someone applies for a special permit or a comprehensive permit, our application fee is $150. Either whether it's again an application fee or a comprehensive permit, and then for a 40B, it's still $150, but there is some requirement from the town for the applicant to put money in escrow, and in regulation I can't even see it because my eyes are right now, I'm tired. 264-4, and it's down below. And then in addition to an application fee, the applicant also has to pay for a butters notice. And that $50, it just went from $30 to $50. That gets paid directly to the town clerk.
No, that one goes to the assessor.
I'm sorry, to the assessors.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
Yep.
fine.
Felicia
Yeah,
collects
it used to be per capita, and they just made it a flat $50 now.
Yeah. So the advertising fee, because we have to publish in the I think it's the Dover tab, and I think we go in twice. The $150 covers the advertising fee, but talking to Felicia, the advertising fees are about $258.
Yeah.
So the application, the $150 does not even cover our advertising fee. So that's Dover. And then I took a look at other surrounding towns. So, you can see Weston charges $400, $500. As a comprehensive permit is even more. And then they have, their butters notice included in their application fee. Same thing with Natick. They charge more than us. Everyone seems to charge more than us.
Yeah.
I got most of this information online, and then I called these different towns just to verify, what I was seeing online. And in speaking to some of the other folks, like in Natick and in Sherburne, they're all considering raising their fees because they realize that, it costs a lot to actually get these things processed and move through their system. But Sherburne was, I think the other town that was kind of pleading, poor. So, and then you can see Wellesley, and then I think the last one, George, which is down at the bottom, is Needham. So as you can see, as we compare, we're much lower than everyone else.
Yeah.
So right off the cuff, I guess my recommendation would be, we should raise our fees, and then now the discussion becomes to what.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if, George, we have the ability to do that, or if this is something that we
You
just
know,
suggest as selectmen.
it's that's a good question, and actually, um, I had to give an annual presentation to the selectmen, and I brought this up, and they basically said, "Let us know what other towns charge," and then I'm not sure there really was any decision about who actually has the power to do it. It would be collaborative. I think we would recommend it, and I would talk with Mike, our town manager, and one way or another, we'd all be going in the same direction. And I'll tell you, one of the costs that's hidden for these things. I saw Felicia, one of our applicants decided they were going to make a FOIA request for all of these different applications that have been done, and she keeps them all in like paper format. This I think this took her like 2 solid days. I won't mention who it was, but it was someone who was before us who was unhappy with the decision, and that was their right to do this. But that type of cost, my goodness. uh, in addition, you'll see with the proposed regulations I'm going to suggest, yeah, I want all of these applications, all of the stuff to be done in PDF format, just the way that Vinny did today for the Strawberry Hill, and because otherwise we've got cost of PDFing this stuff when it comes in handwritten. Um, but yeah, we can certainly, I mean, these fees have been in effect at least since the year 2001. So if they were reasonable in 2001, you know, I mean, it's great, Nancy, you found out what it costs for this advertising.
It
So,
almost feels like a town, similar to us, from like I look at Weston or Wellesley,
yeah,
and maybe, again, we go right to their level and see how
yeah.
that goes. I don't think we're going to lose anyone coming in front of us because they can't afford the application fee.
No, no. We may not, maybe it's not necessary to have the residential commercial breakdown. I don't know if we
Yeah,
get,
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't
now you've
know.
got that dog, is that dog kennel coming in front of us? Is that a commercial?
Well, that's,
But would the
yeah,
guy the family that
yeah,
just came before us today, would they be subject?
yeah,
They paid the 150, or would they pay, like, so if we bump that to the Weston,
yeah,
would they pay
yeah.
$400 to get the
I, I,
Airbnb?
I see. My thought would be that for a town with a big commercial zone and a lot of activity, we could have a different level. But I'd be inclined just to have the same for all. And just looking at Weston,
Oh, I
$400, that makes a lot of sense. I think that and it's we could certainly support that. Uh,
funny.
and
I
now and then, so it's really it's $450 for someone to come to us, because although the assessor bills that $50
Yeah.
separately, that is an application fee. It's the reason it goes there. From what I can tell with municipal accounting, if the fee is given to Felicia, it's a whole big accounting nightmare to get it from her books over to the assessor's books.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think that's but in real terms, that is the cost. I mean, the $50 is a cost for this. So whether it's 400, 350, 500, what do people think?
Well, you have to build in the cost of the ad. If the
yeah,
ad
Yes.
costs $258,
Yeah.
you'd have to add that in. I
Yeah.
can't see that Weston and Natick. How could Natick add that in for $200?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
they're another one that expressed concern and asked me to, once I got done, to share it with them, because they're also realizing that they're not covering their costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should at least cover the cost.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 300 might do it. 300 might do it. 50 for the abutters notice and 258 for the advertising.
I mean,
Well, I think that's why I think if you go to, so you go 400 for the application, and then you pay the $50 for the abutters fee. That covers your advertising fee, gives you a little bit of a cushion, right? Because it's 250 plus, I call it 250. Yeah, 250 plus 150.
But I bet you Natick.
And we've got a town employee helping us with the Zoom, who is getting paid. I hope you're getting paid. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
more
have,
money.
We don't have an assistant, so there's no salary for that. That's something we do all of that internally. And our council says we're the only board of appeals that doesn't have an assistant. But we don't, at least for now, we don't have that cost. But we do have a cost for Zoom help, which the other boards get. We've got a town employee doing that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we were really
Nancy,
trying to recover costs, it'd be $1,000.
Nancy, did you get a sense from Natick that their sort of commercial side was making up for the residential side? Because, I don't mind the idea of having a sort of a difference there. If sort of in my mind, commercial can withstand a higher cost than sort of an individual.
I didn't ask them about that. Is there how they looked at it?
I mean, I feel like we're all in agreement that increasing makes sense.
Yeah.
The extent is really the question. I mean, if we went to Weston levels, that seemed fine by me. I nothing, 300. If somebody said that seems fine too, the 500 commercial feels reasonable. The per unit on 40B feels like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think the 40B, you have to look at that from a kind of a
that's different. Yeah.
And because it's not takes 9 months to negotiate a 40B.
Yeah.
You just look at our group. There are 5 people in this group. You got 3 high-powered lawyers. You got a fabulously successful businesswoman and an engineer.
Yeah, you wish.
You look at all the time we put in, not just sitting in a chair and watching stuff on the tube, but all the stuff we do behind the scenes. Looking at drawings and figuring out what's this, what's that, and we rack up a lot of expensive time. And we're volunteers; we don't get paid, but I think the 40B crowd benefits from having people actually do the work for them. If you look at some of the previous 40Bs we've done, there are a couple of known actors that come in with basically nothing to show, lack detail, and we all have to get together and we help craft the details, and that takes time and it takes brain energy, and it takes people that know what they're doing, lawyers and engineers. And I think that $2,000 fee that Weston has is good, but I would say that's like 25,000.
Well, okay, but let me explain though how this actually works. The amount the town holds in escrow, we don't lose a dime on that. That's to pay for the engineers and architects that we hire. And I know for the project that were at Tisdale, where the developer withdrew, the first payment they made was over $20,000. And what we do when that money comes in, we monitor that. And when we get down to about 25% of that, we give them a demand for more money to replenish. And we actually did that with the developer. He came right back with another close to 25,000. So we don't lose money on the experts. We don't get reimbursed for town council. And then our time we don't get reimbursed for, but the specialists, we don't lose any money on that the way that so I think that particular part of it, I wouldn't change that because we we get enough
Well,
and we stay ahead if
could
our
it
engineers could get more expensive. Yeah.
so I don't view this as like a decision around whether to change the escrow in compliance with our
Yeah.
regs. I would suggest, right, like that there is a permit fee that reflects perhaps closer to the Weston framework than our $150 flat rate. Because I
Yeah.
think for the reason you said, right, like not our time, right? That's sort of us donating it. I think it's more in my mind, it's the town council, it's the
Right.
other administrative burdens that sort of fall here that don't get captured by the experts. And that to
I
me, right,
agree.
like maybe that's high, but
Yeah.
like something that captures
Yeah.
like a
Well, I can tell you right now, I looked, I can't find where that $150 fees is in anything, for the 40Bs. The regulation, and that'll be something we talk about for regulation improvement. Uh, because yeah, right now, I think the only thing that the town that we charge, at least according to the written rules, is the escrow amount. I don't think I saw an application fee.
So there's really, George?
Yeah, I didn't see it. It's I looked at we've got special regulations
Yeah.
that were adopted for this. And the fee, I'm not sure I really know, and maybe I just am not familiar enough where this
Well,
150
well,
bucks comes from.
couldn't we
I
go
mean,
back and look at like, the Tisdale application?
yeah, no, yeah, though they paid it.
They
And
paid the 150.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that this charge, and basically, I don't know that what has to be in a regulation or what can be just basic practice, but I think whatever it is, I'd like to see it more formal and right in the regulation that can be adjusted from time to time. Uh, but yeah, this is. Yeah, but the escrow amount, that's okay. Now getting more in Weston, uh was that an application fee
Yes.
or was that escrow
No,
for
that was an application fee.
okay, good. Well, I like that.
Yeah.
I like Weston
I
looking at these things.
Should be a lot higher.
But
Yeah.
even if
Yeah, okay,
you
Mike,
look
yeah,
at
Mike.
Wellesley and Needham, right? So I
Yeah,
can't see Needham on the bottom of the
yeah,
page, George, but I think Needham also has a higher comprehensive
yeah,
permit application. So I
yeah,
think it just speaks to the amount of work that needs to
right.
go into it, even if it's
Mhm.
just Felicia getting the
Yeah,
documents out to us,
right.
right? All the
but
documents
but
required.
Well,
is
the
there
thing is
a line that
also
we have
with 40B, we've got to be careful we don't become uh, enemies of the state. Again,
yes, that's right.
so I think here, if we're going to bop that up for 40Bs, yeah, I would want to ask our lawyer how high can we go without violating some state rule?
Well, again, I go back to just pick one of these other towns that are higher and
Yeah.
Yeah,
say, we're mirroring, neighboring towns. They asked us for kind of a comprehensive look. So here it is across the town.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think here for 40B, being a special animal, there may be a state rule that kind of puts a
Yeah.
lid on
But I also think that the focus for us, right, and I think it's
yeah,
consistent with what we've talked about, is really that it's more about offsetting the administrative burdens associated with those applications, and not any
right.
sort of expression of sort of views on the process
40B.
itself, or
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like I think that those are great, and I think this is really more a matter of like
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into it. This reflects that. Something higher would reflect that burden.
Okay. So are we thinking like for the non 40Bs, which is when the building inspector rejects something and someone appeals, or someone wants a variance. Um,
I would propose 300, 500, and then the Weston model, but maybe drop the residential down to 3 instead of 5
3.
or
Yeah,
4.
3 would be good. I like that. 3 or 350.
Okay, now, and then would we bundle, because when the building inspector denies something, there are two ways to go at that. One is to say he was wrong and legally this is it. So that's appealing the denial. Usually, if you kind of think, well, maybe he was right, we want a variance as well. So you're really doing two applications. You're appealing his denial. You're also doing a variance. If you just say, hey, I just want a variance, or I just want to do a denial, but I would be inclined to think a variance that's coupled with an appeal of a denial, we're dealing with the same property, so it ought to be just one fee. So this would be sort of be for applications. Uh, uh, and so, but I'll tell you, 400, I mean, for an expensive town like this, and you're usually, what are the variances are? What have we seen? People are trying to get, which they're allowed to do, more value out of the property than the property would support just standing on its own. So it's a very affordable thing when you look at that.
So you guys are saying you'd want to go to for a residential permit, 300, and a commercial, did you say 400?
Yeah, and then the comprehensive permit could be like 500, like 300, 400, 500, maybe. Maybe that's not enough.
I was suggesting 300 for residential, 500 for commercial, and then the 2,000 plus 100 per unit. So sort of the Weston model, but with a slightly lower residential. And George, to your point, I think bundling it together so it's one fee for sort of a property makes sense to me. But if you said let's just do the Weston model, I'm down. I think that makes a lot of good sense.
Yeah.
Plus $100 per unit, that seems like a lot. So that condo complex they did with 35 units are going to be $3,500. Seems like a lot.
Yeah, but you think about it. These are developers who have,
tons of money. Yeah,
they have tons of money, and the only reason why I like the $400 from Weston instead of the 300 is, look, we haven't changed our rates in since what 20 years.
Yeah.
So part of me says let's put them at a
Where they
level
should be.
now. Let's put them at a level now that the town feels comfortable with, versus now having to go back 2 years from now because we haven't covered our advertising fee.
I like that idea. That's a good
That
idea.
makes good sense.
Okay. So now commercial, and I'm just thinking of this from Felicia's point of view. We can't make this too complicated. Special permits. I mean, commercial. Is that work in a commercial zone or?
So maybe we leave it, George. Maybe it's just 400 across the board for
I like
commercial,
that.
residential. That way, no one has to. Felicia doesn't say, "Well, what is this?" Right?
Yeah. For that extra $100, it could cause some complications.
Yeah.
So the 400 sounds good. It catches the ads. We're still in the hole if you consider the time for a town employee to monitor the Zoom meetings.
Especially the longer meetings.
Although I think the selectmen were happy. We actually our budget request went down because at one point Felicia was doing the minutes and getting paid extra, so we were able to take all the employee cost out of our budget request, which was good. Okay, so $400 and okay, what I'll do is get in touch with Mike Blanchard about that and let me make sure. So we're thinking of $400 for these things, and for the comprehensive permit, that's 2,000 plus 100 per unit.
Yeah.
We're basically going to track Weston except for the $500.
Except for the butters notice. Yep.
Okay. I think that's great. Good. And I'll let you know how they want to, if they want to approve it or have us do it, whatever they want is fine. Okay. So we've done real quick. Good boy, this is 9:30. Goodness, that's for old people like us. Here we are hanging out.
Well, not some of those guys. Look around. Not everyone's old, George. You and I are, maybe.
Okay. This is I decided, just personally, as I've gotten into this, there are so many of these rules where we don't have the rule in the bylaw. You need to know what state law is. And you go back and forth, and you still have to give state law deference. But I thought it would be helpful for us first to consolidate things so that both the state requirement and the bylaw requirement were in the same document. And then I've just gone over I'm going to skim through this real quick. We're not going to make any decisions on this. Our town council got the flu, and so she hasn't had a chance to look at it yet. But the idea was we adopt this. This is 265. It'd be a new chapter. 264 is where we've got the 40B regulations. This covers building inspector denials, requests for variance, requests for special permits for all the matters which come before us. And then miscellaneous matters like determining grandfathered status. Remember we had that two-family place on Farm Street? Yeah. Or what is our fee when an abutter thinks the building inspector goofed and wants to appeal that decision? Which is, again, you go to the building inspector, ask him for reconsidering, and then after that, you come to us. So I've got rules for that. So that this covers all the sorts of things I think that handle us, except for 40B. There, we flip people back to the 264 bylaws that are already approved. Now, for applications, Vinny asked me, do we require 5 paper copies? And I guess at one point, it might have been with Gary, which made sense back in the Stone Ages, but we're so electronic and modern now. But she needs a paper copy because that's how she produces a record. But I was thinking, do 1 full paper copy. But in addition, the applicant has a complete copy in PDF format. So it's not just the paper thing. They do just what Vinny did or what any of the good developers would do. They put it all in PDF as well as paper. And but we would make that a requirement under these rules. So we don't need to decide it, but I think that will help a lot. I know it'll save a lot of time just for me to circulate things for you because I'm sometimes having to do PDFs of paper copies to send out. Okay, then we would have discretion if we wanted to require up to 4 additional paper copies. That could be necessary for 40Bs or something like that, but that would be up to us. If it's a denial of the BI, just like they do now, we need the BI's denial and specify the relief and where under the bylaws do they expect us to grant the relief. That is on the form right now. People don't do that a lot of times. Then, okay, give us a statement why they think they need it. And then certified plot plans. Anything dealing with sideline variances, dimensional. Yeah, we wanted that certified, not hand drawn. And if they go without a certified plot plan, if we feel that we need one, we tell them that. And if not, they've got an insufficient application. So that would be a way to handle that. I've got this 150 in here. Probably what we would do is have that and then add in something or such other amount as is determined by the board from time to time and announced, something like that. I put the tax assessor stuff in here, although it goes to the tax assessor. I think we should let the applicants know your costs, that you've got this extra cost. And then I bet none of you knew this. Let me be honest. If we decide for a non-40B that we need a consultant, we can hire them and it will be at the expense of the applicant. Now, Laverne, you're looking at me saying that's asking for too much. I can tell.
No, the applicant always pays for the
Good.
consultants. Yeah,
Yes,
they
and
do.
in fact, and where that is, our 40B regulations, 264, this is the one part that goes beyond 40B. It actually.
Would that include legal counsel?
What?
Would that include legal counsel, or could it include legal counsel? So if we have to consult with town council, they agree to pay for it?
You know, that is no. I think here this was not for legal. It's a and yeah, it would be nice. That would be awfully nice to get someone to pay for. That might, uh, but
is this new or these are amended?
264 was dealing with consultants rather than lawyers.
Sorry, maybe I apologize for not fully appreciating the context. Like, if we are proposing amendments, or is this something that has been amended and we are just like going through the revisions? Because that feels like a good proposal for the town. Right?
Okay, well, no. This is what this is, Nadir. This is something I put together that I thought, let's find out what the board thinks, and then get town council to approve it all.
Yeah.
And from there, we would go through the process of a formal adoption, just the way they did with Chapter 264. And so this would go into the
so if we're including consultants, I would suggest we propose including legal counsel fees as part of that, or find consultants to include that, because it feels awkward that we have to like pay somebody for legal advice about a question somebody's bringing to us. That would be a great cost to be able to transfer over. And it doesn't come up all the time, but like when deemed appropriate and our discretion, perhaps.
What I'll do, and I will ask if that's okay with town council. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think that would be more than incorporating 264.8. And probably what we would do is change that and then refer to that here. Hearing. This is all stuff that is a combination of local and state law. 65 days of receipt of a completed application. And about our notice, I point out that we don't use the town bulletin board anymore because we do it all by web. And recommend that if you've got an application, come with a written application. Site visits, just describe these. So that's the hearing process.
George, it was funny. When I was in town hall the other day, Felicia said, "Why don't you guys meet monthly?"
Why don't we what?
Why don't we meet monthly? Felicia had I don't know, and maybe she caught me on a bad day. I didn't hear it. She thought that we should try to. Every board meets monthly. Why don't we?
Oh.
And I looked at her. I said, "Well, we don't have applications every month, but we meet on." And so I didn't know if you had some context for that with her.
No, I never. No. no, she has her she had a reason for that, I guess. But no, I don't see any reason to just meet for the heck of it.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no, thank
we're
you.
an appeals board. I mean, in a way, courts don't meet just for the heck of it, and so I think, um, but generally we have been meeting at least once a month. It's just, and that would be the case now, except the hearing got canceled that we were going to have on, that property where they wanted to uh, cover more than the allowed coverage under our zoning. Uh, Now, appeals from the building inspector denial, this is just to let people know they got to do it within 30 days. The hearing starts within 65 days. Uh, we file this within 100 days of filing the application. This is partly just for us to know because that's a denial of the building inspector. Um, it's the same rule for variances. Special permits are different. There, you start your hearing, but you don't have this 100-day clock from the filing of the application. Here, it's 90 days after the hearing concludes. So it's kind of an this is
It's
critical.
90 days after the hearing concludes, so we could take a long time to hear it out.
Exactly. When it's for special permits.
Yeah.
Not for building inspector and variance.
Not for variance, yeah.
That's where that 100 days comes in. And then miscellaneous applications, dissatisfaction with a decision of the BI for a budding proper or whatever, you first submit that to the building inspector. And then appeals to the board are filed within 30 days if the building inspector denies the relief they requested. And then we treat that under the same procedures as apply to other building inspector denials. Extensions, this has come up. We can extend them by mutual written agreement, but importantly, that 30-day filing date for appeals from the BI, if someone's late on that 30 days, we have no right to give them more than that. That's state law. And I guess that's to be fair to abutters as well. But that's a key thing. And I just figure, hey, let's get it into something that we can look at without having to flip back and forth with state law. Appeals from the board decisions. Okay, this is all pretty straightforward. Appeals don't go to the board. They go to court. And then we've got this 20-day process where if nothing gets filed, then it's a final decision. Email and electronic communication. This is fun. This actually, to bring us into the current day and age, we've got mass open meeting law, public records law, and this is all me. Our counsel may tell me I'm all full of baloney. But I think this is pretty close. Here, making clear first, paper and electronic formats for applications, and supplementary material, which comes in a lot of times, that needs to come in electronically, and a paper copy is filed with the clerk. This hasn't been happening. I'll get stuff into the hearing with some more things, and there's no paper filing with the town clerk, but she needs that for the complete record. And with all that Felicia has to do, she doesn't want to be printing out. I mean, she would, but there's no reason why the applicants can't provide a paper copy. Okay, for electronic
George,
signatures,
do we have
much more left here? Sorry, I've got kids
No,
that are.
this is almost the end. We're almost ready, Nadir, for your patented motion to adjourn.
Kids get to stay up late. Whoopee.
Okay, good.
They
But
keep
anyway,
popping by.
well, this is just a bunch of stuff. Public comment. When people, I was getting inundated with emails from people, on various things. So, email sender's full name and address. Make clear part of the public record. It's not confidential, and they will be shared with the applicant and board members. And which is a lot of extra work, but it is part of the record when people send us these emails. And then this is saying if you're going to send an email on a hearing, get it to us 48 hours in advance.
No, good idea.
Otherwise, just talk. Okay, that is just, again, let me speak with counsel about this. If you go through it, if you get some stuff you want me to stick in here, and Nadir, I'll put in the stuff about attorney fees.
Yep.
Then I think that would be it. Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
Second.
Oh, wait a minute, we got one more thing.
No,
when
buddy.
when are we going to meet next?
When are we going to meet
we
next?
got that application for the kennel, and well, hold it. I think Jeepers. I think
Didn't we say we're going to meet sometime already?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I don't think we did.
Something.
No, hold it. I've got to. Shoot. GC personal.
Looking for my book. Oh, here's my book.
Yeah. This is where the hell was this? Hang on a minute. Okay. Yeah. This is for 5 Village Hill Road. I've got to schedule a hearing for that. The application is to have a commercial dog kennel, which is an it's an allowed use with a special permit in even in a 1 acre zone.
What weeks are we looking at?
Yeah, so let's look at the calendars. When can we meet next? And it ought to be like a month from now, because I have to get this thing advertised, and the newspaper needs a lot of lead time.
Shoot, like the week of May 11th? Is that?
That's good.
Is that too far out?
I'm thinking 30. Let me see, 36.
We can kick it out a little.
It's okay. I think I'd rather do it a week earlier, because if the paper screws up, and again, for me we only publish on Thursdays, and that means I've got to get the ad to them a week before that, and if they miss something, we could end up not being able to schedule a hearing within the necessary 65 days. And if the applicant weren't cooperative, we would end up defaulting. So I think, the 7th would be better.
Unfortunately, I can't make the 7th, but obviously you guys can go ahead.
How about the 6th?
I'm
free.
away I'm away that whole.
Okay.
I'm out the whole week, George.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, let's do it the 7th, and Nancy,
I can miss the dog kennel.
Listen,
Darn it.
You did some overtime with the tax information.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
May 7th. Okay.
May 7th. Okay.
You're on. I got it down.
Good, and I'll get that advertised. Okay, now it's motion to adjourn.
Make a
Move to
motion
adjourn.
the meeting.
I second it.
Okay.
Either one.
Okay.
Nancy Green, aye.
That's it.
Aye.
Laverne Lovell, aye.
Mike Donovan, aye.
Yeah, George Schmetto, aye.
Thank you.
Have a great night,
Thanks,
all.
George.
Thank you so much.
See you on
Thanks,
the
George.
7th.
Nice job. Nice job, George.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye.